Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to what will be a fantastic evening of celebration and getting around our old mate, Phil Glendinning. Congratulating him on the last 3 decades at the helm of the Edmund Rice Centre, what he has achieved and the journey he has taken us on. My name is Adrian Brennan, a member of the Edmund Rice Oceania Province Formation Team, and I'll be emceeing this evening. To open our proceedings, we commence with a prayer and our acknowledgement of country. I invite Carmel Clark. So a prayer inspired by the work of liberationist and martyr Oscar Romero, read by Carmel Clark, who's Phil's long-term PA. It's a reflection on the spirit inspiring the vision of the work of those of us who gather here. A commitment to social justice, human rights, and our sharing of Phil's commitment to a better future.
Good evening, everybody. It helps now and then to step back and take a long view. The kingdom is not beyond our efforts. It is even beyond our vision. We accomplish in our lifetime only a tiny fraction of the magnificent enterprise that is God's work. Nothing we do is complete, which is a way of saying that the kingdom always lies beyond us. This is what we are about. We plant the seeds that one day will grow. We water seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for the Lord's grace to enter and do the rest. We may never see the end results, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future not our own.
Thank you, Carmel. I would now like to introduce Dr. Daryl Cronin, Indigenous Research Officer at the Edmund Rice Centre, a Murrumbidgee man, for our acknowledgement of country. Thanks, Daryl.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and thanks for coming. It looks really good, and I really appreciate everybody coming for Phil's farewell. But what I wanted to do is I just want to talk a little bit about some of the Aboriginal clans here who lived in Sydney. But before I do that, I just want to acknowledge two groups, the Wongal and the Gadigal. From what I understand, the area here, Lewisham and Petersham, were very much sort of boundaries of both clan groups. So I assume that, it was very much a shared area. But I also want to acknowledge all of the Aboriginal people who've lived in this Sydney coastal area. They have a very, very long history in Sydney, and they have an important story of survival. Aboriginal people had witnessed the change in climate from the cooler climates of the Ice Age to global warming and the rising of the sea levels. And I'm talking 20-odd thousand years ago. In this region, Aboriginal people witnessed the formation of the landscape and the formation of the city, what we know as Sydney today. Long before Captain Cook and Governor Phillip arrived, Aboriginal people saw the creation of Port Jackson, Botany Bay, Port Hacking and Broken Bay, and the shoreline of the coastal zone of Sydney. About 18,000 years ago, global warming caused sea levels to rise after the last ice age. So in that context, the birth of Sydney and the last 235 years has only been a fraction of time in which Aboriginal people lived in this area. In 1788, Aboriginal people lived in clans across Sydney. They had their own estates. They intermarried with other clans in the region and inherited rights and responsibilities according to their ancestral connections. Different clans came together, forming bands. Hence, they had connection to broader areas across the coastal zone, north and south of Sydney. They lived, travelled, maintained cultural connections and married in this coastal zone. The new British arrivals were strangers to this land and were desperate to understand the Aboriginal people who shunned the settlement. Despite the devastation of smallpox and the appropriation of their land, Aboriginal people in Sydney were able to regroup based on their cultural connections with other clans in the coastal zone. Aboriginal people did not die out because of disease. They were not pushed out of Sydney because their land was taken. They had regrouped and developed a place for themselves in the new colonial reality. They lived in and around coastal Sydney in uncolonised spaces, or they lived on private land of wealthy patrons. They fished for their survival, but they also worked as labourers, domestic servants, or hunting and fishing tour guides. And they also collected tolls from travellers. While they maintained their distance from Sydney town, they continued to interact with Europeans, building cross-cultural relations. They were accepted by sympathetic colonists and became more enmeshed in the colony. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Darryl. So welcome again, and with our thanks, the function this evening has been sponsored by the Christian Brothers and put on by the Edmund Rice Centre Planning Group, convened by Mick Mazzina, Board Chair. At commencement, we very much acknowledge and note our appreciation for the generosity of the Christian Brothers High School Lewisham, the staff here for hosting us, and the work that has gone into facilitating our presence here this evening. Tonight is an informal celebratory occasion, an occasion of expressing gratitude and congratulations to Phil. We will all have a chance to speak with one another and with Phil and share some stories. There are people here from many phases of the 27 years Phil has been at the Edmund Rice Centre. Christian Brothers, including Province Leader, Brother Gerard Brady, Brother Julian McDonald, namesake of this hall and the initiator of the centre, Brothers Dan Stewart and Jude Butcher, founding father and inaugural board chair of the centre, and many other Christian brothers. Associates from the Antar Days, the Refugee Council of Australia, the Justice Reform Initiative, ACOS, Amnesty International, Catholic Mission, and other groups too numerous to mention. From the centre, there is former staff, volunteers and interns, along with current staff, board members past and present, and of course, the Glendenning family members, of which we have a healthy representation of here. But all guests, whoever we are, wherever we have come from, are here for one reason. We are friends of Phil, fellow travellers on the road. So a little housekeeping on the evening. The food and drinks will be coming around the hall on trays and facilities for self-service of tea and coffee are found in 2 places. The catering is provided by a refugee-based organisation, the House of Welcome. And Maggie and I just had a chat to Abby, and it would be remiss of us to not point out that the House of Welcome, supporting refugees, is always after food bank, pantry style material, beds at the moment, particular cash donations and vouchers. If anyone wishes to help out, Abby in the kitchen will be glad to talk to you. The bathrooms are just down here on my right, past the partition on the right-hand side. There is a display table with information about the statement and the referendum on the back here. And there's also on there a book for writing a message and for us all to sign. I must also let you all know that tonight is being photographs are being taken and video photography is also taking place. So, the mechanics of the timeline. Just like one of the Broken Watch Band's evenings, we've got 3 odd sets of 20 minutes. These will include messages, video messages and speeches. The formatted melodies will finish by around 7:30, and in fact, we need to vacate these premises by 8:15. So if you want to set up the pub to go to afterwards, Phil, now would be a good time to lock that in. All right. Now, I think we all know that we have a guest of honour who is wondering what all this fuss is about. And he would have been quite comfortable to have marked this moment in a pub with us, a keg of beer and a guitar. Well, Phil, from our perspective, there's no fuss, just a chance for all of us to celebrate this occasion with you and congratulate you on the journey. You, like an altruistic postman, are a man who has delivered hope everywhere he has gone. You have changed lives, and not only those whose rights you were defending, but also those who have shared this journey with you. Many of us here tonight, and still many more who aren't. So Phil, and to all of us, relax and enjoy this evening, an occasion for all of us to recount memories, to tell stories, and to celebrate with you. We have a little time now to begin socialising. I will be back up shortly to keep things rolling, so listen for my voice. In the meantime, do as Phil would do. Grab a drink, have a chat, speak to someone you don't know, tell a joke, and then burst spontaneously into song. So we'll have a break now and enjoy it. Thank you.